Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to Supernova Closed Beta Part 2, where I'll be covering all of the gameplay, functions, and features. If you have not seen Part 1, I highly recommend so, and I'll put that in the description below for you to check out. But before we get into the actual game, this is what happens right before, where you can select your commander to use in the game, and as well as switch between different roles. This is really important because this is where we're going to be playing at, and also where your units will be spawning at. And we can also select our different tactical abilities. In case if we're going to be jungling, we probably want to pick up a more jungle-oriented tactical ability, as well as we can select our different force and force themes and vortex. So after you pick your commander, this is where you go ahead and lock in and get sent right into the game. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a quick tour around the HUD. On the left hand side we have our teammates. On the bottom left hand corner we have our map. Now you may be wondering what those gold little circles are. Those notify us that we have jungle creeps up for the taking. Next to that we have our commander stats, including HP, level, and abilities. Our abilities are Q, W, E, and R. And then on top of that we have our tactical abilities, which are 1, 2, and 3. Have not unlocked 3 yet since I'm not high enough faction level. And 4, what 4 is, it is actually our wards. Everybody gets this, but it does have a cooldown, but at least everybody has a ward to place and they don't have to go back and buy it. Just taking a quick tour around the map. As you can see, I failed at ganking that guy. He recalled just in time, but you can see there were some jungle mobs, which let me go ahead and take in some of those for additional XP so I can get a little bit ahead in levels. So moving on to what is on top here, we have the team structure status, team kills, and then team attribute points. Now, to better understand what the team structure status actually means is each tower in the lanes are indicated by one line. For example, the enemy team here, we have destroyed their tier 1 tower on their top lane and bottom lane, and they have taken our tier 1 tower in our middle lane. And then on the top right next to that we have our kills, deaths, and assists in that order. Now moving into units, we can highlight over each unit. You can see their strength and weaknesses as well as what they're effective against. Now I just got to pop up here saying that we should probably be picking up this unit to help counter the enemy forces, so I will. And we see I have a nice selection of different units. Now on the left hand side we have resources available as well as the wave timer. On the right hand side we have the research panel, which we can click, open up, and buy more upgrades for our units, whether it's more armor or more damage. Now to the left of that we have an upgrade for resource income, and then we have the elite training, which our next wave suffers a lot less damage. So it's really good to pick up that in the end game. Now you may be wondering which units are yours. Your units are the ones that have green HP bars. You can go ahead and click on each unit and you can see their stats as well as you can see who they belong to. Now to see exactly how our force is holding up to the enemy forces, we can go to the force overview tab located on the top right, and we can see exactly what the enemy units are and what we should be building to counter them, and we can see our overall force balance as it changes for each wave. Now let's talk about the recall system. I mentioned this in the part 1 video. Both humans and cyborgs have their own recall system. Now in this clip I am on the cyborg side. So for cyborgs, when you go to recall you cannot move. If you do move, it will interrupt your recall and put on a short cooldown. Now as well as recalls, you can also go back to anywhere on the map. Of course it has a very long cooldown, but for the cyborgs you have to select a friendly unit, rather it is a commander or one of your forces, and this will allow you to instantly teleport to that individual unit. Now, as far as the human recall system works, you can go ahead and hit your recall button, and then you have a nice circle in which you can still move around to if you want, and then you get picked up by your ship. Now, while on your ship, you can go ahead and allocate your commander upgrades and things like that, so you can be ready when you go back onto the field. Now, as far as getting back onto the field, you can go ahead and select any visible area and mark that as your destination, and then your ship will pick you up and then take you back there. And finally, let's go into the commander upgrade system. The yellow pluses are the recommended attributes that you should be leveling up. Now, of course, you don't have to do that. You can level up any attribute that you want to. And then we have proficiencies. These are additional stats that we can have on our commander. There are 3 sections. There is the core proficiencies, offensive, and defensive. So you can go with different type of builds for your commander depending on your playstyle. And here is what it looks like to end the game. We're taking out the last shield generator here. We have our entire forces with us. Take the last few hits on the enemy augur, that is their base. And then we can finally end the match. We're still swinging at it, making sure it is definitely dead. And then that will take us to our end screen. Now here at this screen we can see all the XP that we earned, our faction XP, that we get all of our credits in, and on the far right we can see what elements we gained. Let's talk about in part 1 where you can use elements to craft. And of course we have player stats. We can see our total attribute points that we got, all of our individual scores, what proficiencies we got, all of our tactical abilities, timer and things like that. But thank you guys so much for watching the 2-part series, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.